Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Dream Steward. Alrighty. So, definitely wanted to hit on a particular topic as it pertains to dreams, as it pertains to how we take the time out to receive by faith the interpretation of dreams. It has everything to do with stewarding and taking care of the words and the messages that God is giving to us. And so definitely wanted to come on because I'm running across people who are failing in one aspect or another as it pertains to dreams and revelations. And so this won't be a topic that goes over your head or anything. It won't be something that's too hard to grasp. In fact, it's very needful and necessary as God is dealing with us about destiny, about walking in purpose, about walking in the plans that He has for us. And so, as you can see, the title of this has to do with agreement. Agreement. And so, let's dive into this on right now, and let's make this a part of our caretaking of the dreams that God entrusts to us as the information, the intelligence, the spiritual intelligence that He entrusts to us, that He reveals to us. And so I was sharing or actually listening to an individual share their dream with me. It's the dream that they had, and it was a very powerful dream. It was a very surreal, as they say, dream. It was a destiny or destinational dream because it had a baby in it. And the baby a lot of times represents assignment, purpose, or promise. And as this woman of God was sharing or saying the contents of the dream, as she was sharing the dream, I noticed, or God allowed me to notice, a disconnect between her heart and the heart of what He was revealing. And how do you know whether or not your heart is connected to what God is revealing? Because dreams in itself will show you your own heart. It'll show you what you believe. It'll show you how you feel. It will show you your perspective. It'll show you God's perspective. It could show you the people that's in the dream perspective. It could show you their hearts. It shows the heart of a thing. And you'll be able to discern between it all. You know, you'll be in dreams, you'll be able to see God's heart, you'll be able to see your heart, you'll be able to see the other people that's in the dream's heart. And so one of the things I noticed is that as she's told the dream, she was like, I don't know, you know. And when people say things, of course, your words is connected to your heart. And so one of the things that I noticed is that even though the dream was powerful, even though the dream was like, even while she was sharing the dream, she was excited and it was amazing and it was wow, it was all of that. But at the end of it is, I don't know. And so right there as a steward, when we don't know something, we still should have a better response. And that response is to agree. And so, and I'm definitely talking about, the dreams where, it's a God dream. It's clear. The dream was clear. The contents were clear. You could hear, feel, taste, in a sense of just the reality. When the dreams feel so real. And so by faith, you and all of us, we need to come into agreement. One of the ways you do that is you go into prayer. You go into prayer and you begin to just voice your heart, about what God showed you. And that's one of the ways God begins to open our eyes and open us to interpretation is by then coming to Him in prayer, coming to Him to talk about the dream, coming to Him to say, God, I don't understand what you just showed to me. And then you begin to make your request. You begin to petition Him, for revelation, for understanding, for someone to help, for an interpreter, whatever it is you want to ask God for. Reveal the dream to me, give me a sure interpretation of what it is you're saying. And then you go into the parts and the pieces of the dream, specifically and especially the things that you had a question about, the things that stood out to you. And you're still in prayer. You're like, God, and you're just talking to Him, because He's a friend, and so when you do that, God begins to open up the dream. But if you keep saying, I don't know, as a spiritual being, you're stopping the understanding from coming to you, from being delivered to you. It's almost like you just hold your hand up and say, stop. And so that's not something that, that you want to do. And so anyhow, as you begin to go into prayer, you begin to ask Him for understanding, for revelation or what have you. You also want to begin to deal with your heart that was exposed in the dream. Okay. And so, in doing that, you would want to, just really just be like, okay, God, connect my heart. I want your will. I want what you want. I don't know how it's going to come about, but will you please, grant me the wisdom, the insight, the people, the connections. Grant me the understanding, the knowledge. If there's something I need to do, a certification, a license, a class I need to take, if there's something that I need to do in order for what you have shown me to come to pass, put me in the center of your will. And so we begin to intentionally engage in that dream, which was good, to come to pass. It doesn't mean you go into controlling things. We're not going to pull a Sarah and Hagar situation. It's not about that, but it's about putting everything in perspective. And so, because one of the things, like I was saying, that I noticed is that she was bucking what God was saying in certain places and parts of the dream. And one of the things I also noticed is that as she shared the dream, there's no need for me to necessarily share the dream, and I don't have permission to do that because of just confidentiality and just out of integrity. But as she was sharing the dream, I noticed she would make comments as it pertains to her real life. And so, say for instance, God gives you a dream, and then in real life, you share what your heart is, because the dream exposed something that was very similar. So say for instance, you had a dream where you owned and ran an ice cream shop. And so in your reality, in your mindset, and with the attitude that you have now, you're like, man, I know I wouldn't own no ice cream shop because, I have to make some money. I have to take care of my family. I have to do this. I have to do that. Well, that's in a way an attitude. It's a nice way of saying it. That's in essence, how do I say, your perspective of how you feel about what you feel about. But in the dream, for instance, when you had this ice cream shop, you didn't have no worries. You didn't have, it was no concerns, nothing brought up about you couldn't pay your bills. You were joyful in the ice cream shop. You were joyful working with the customers. You were joyful working with maybe say the employees, and maybe the employees were even your family. And so, so one of the things you want to make sure you're doing is you want to make sure that you are coming in contact with what God revealed, even in your heart, even in your attitude. And one of the things that we can do, in which, it's okay to do, we should do, is repent. We should repent for any attitude that we have that is not lined up with God, that is not pleasing, because you don't, like I said, you notice things in the dream, and the dream reveals things about us and where we're at even now. And so one of the things you want to do is you want to come into agreement with your attitude, the God attitude that he's showing you have, because it's being revealed in the dream. There's a God attitude. There's a God perspective. There's a God assignment. There's a God motive, all those things. And one of the things I shared with her, I said, you need to own that. You need to own what God revealed, because in part of the dream, she also said something. She made a statement about the thing that God said he was going to do. And it was a negative statement. It wasn't something like, oh, I can't, it was like when I say negative, simply basically what I'm meaning is that it was still negating what God was doing. It was still coming against. So say, for instance, let me give you another example. So say, for instance, in the dream, you have a dream where you are going to buy a house, and there is this particular realtor that's helping you with the process or whatever. They're the one that's ushering you through the process of buying the house. And then in the dream, you end up getting the house. Everything goes smooth. But in the dream, you notice, maybe say something that took place, and then you comment on this and you say, like, well, the house wasn't even, ready to move in, and we had some, some issues, between me and my spouse or whatever, as it pertains to moving into the house. And so you said something like that in the dream. And then the realtor says, you all worked it out and everything will be just fine. Okay. So what you want to do is, say, for instance, that's the scenario. What you want to do as a dream steward is you want to come against any comments, or not allow those comments to be spoken out of your mouth as you're walking through your process, as you're walking out and God is walking you into manifestation of buying the house. You want to be careful what you allow your mouth to say. In fact, you don't want your mouth to say anything that negates the fact that it was just told to you that the process was smooth and everything worked out. So that's what I mean when I say come into agreement. You want to come into agreement with what God is saying and what God is doing. I hope this is making sense. Okay. And so I definitely wanted to talk, about this on this evening, because like I said, so much of warfare, so much adversity, a lot of us stopping the processes of God, stopping the promises of God, stopping the procedures and the things that's supposed to take place under the heavens at the right time. We're stopping things because of our perspective. We're stopping things because of our attitude. We're stopping things because of our mouths. And so we got to make sure that we're not allowing ourselves to stop what God is doing for us or through us. Okay. And so that's basically the heart of agreement. And so I just definitely wanted to stop in and just share that on tonight, because there's so many wonderful things that God wants to do for his people and is doing. But one of the things that we must do is be in agreement with what God is doing. And so I know that might have sounded a little weird, but yeah, we want to be in agreement with what God is doing, and because God is not wanting to force anything on us. Another thing is, if you are having any reoccurring dreams, this is a big one. If you are having recurring dreams, if you're having the same dream over and over and over, you really need to get that interpreted. We one of the things we need to do too, and I'm saying we need to. I'm not trying to be forceful. or pressure anyone. But if it's recurring, then that means there's an opportunity that still exists for this thing to happen, and God is trying to get our attention. I mean, if we were trying to get somebody's attention in our lives that we loved, and yet we couldn't get a hold of them, they won't answer, they won't reply back, they won't text back. You know, you've been trying to reach them for months. They won't send the email. They won't say, I hear you. They won't say, I'm considering it. They won't get back, give you a word, something. How would we feel? How would we feel? God is a person. He is a person, and he deserves to be treated with honor. He deserves to be treated like we can hear him. And so we definitely want to, the reason why I'm saying that is because we need to be intentional about getting the dream interpreted. Okay, so it's recurring. Are we asking for help? Or are we seeking out an interpreter? Are we asking our pastors or our leaders, hey, I need somebody? And then when we do talk to somebody, are they really, helping? If they're not helping, then that's where God comes in. Is God put me in front of somebody that can really help. Put me in front of somebody that can really interpret. Put me in front of somebody who can really discern what you're saying. Don't stop. Don't let, certain things stop you, and definitely don't let anybody talk you out of it. Oh, that don't mean nothing. No, if the creator of the heavens and the earth is giving me a recurring dream, it means something. You see what I'm saying? Once again, we have to stay in agreement with God. If he's causing this dream to reoccur, then it does mean something. And so we are not to allow anybody else to say otherwise. And so we want to make sure that we're getting these dreams interpreted. So that's a recurring dream. That's looking at the contents of the dream. That's being intentional. Part of intentionality is writing our dreams down, capturing the dreams, because we will not remember the details. And some of those details are so crucial to our moves that we can lose, the moment. We could lose the opportunity because we did not capture it. And so we definitely want to just be mindful of just all those types of things. And so I pray that this has been a help to you. I pray that you are doing well in your dream stewardship. I pray that even since, God had me to begin to teach on dreams, that people's lives have been blessed. It's always my heart that people be blessed, and that they come forward with understanding, so that God can do some things that he's been wanting to do. And so also things that need to happen in a certain time, in a certain place, in a certain way, that those things will actually take place, that people can get their prayers answered. God is trying to answer our prayers. And I'm telling you, if we're not listening and paying attention to our dreams, we're bypassing his answer. We have prayer requests, we have petitions before the Lord. And there's insight being given in the dreams. If we are not remembering our dreams, okay? Some people say, well, I don't remember them. They may say, I have them, but I don't remember them. And some people think that they don't even have dreams. If I didn't press into retrieving my dreams in the morning or when I first get up, then I would think I didn't have a dream either. But one of the things that allows dreams to come to our minds is when we get up and we actually sit still to spend some time with the Lord. Many times dreams will come to your mind as you go into prayer first thing in the morning. I'm talking about not in the car, not while you hustling, not while you texting and driving and, trying to get your child settled in the back seat. Not when all of that's going on, but first thing in the morning when you rise up early, before everything starts pulling you in all different directions, to get before the Lord, to seek him first, to pray that his hedge of protection be round about you and your children, and that he bless you in all your efforts, at the time where, things are still quiet in the house. And so many times we're not getting our dreams because we're running. We're not still enough. We're not settled. and or we're not really putting him first so that he can really have the conversation and the type of community that really takes to get to these things and to get to the meat and the heart of these things. So we want to make sure that we are doing our part as it pertains to dreams and visions and revelations. And so my prayer on today is that you would come into agreement with the message that God is giving to you through the dream. As I was saying earlier, I was sharing a dream where I was speaking with a young lady, and it was labor, it was deliverance, it was both. And I tell you, and I'm sharing this because I'm so thankful to God for quickening me in my spirit. And he was like, tell her that she needs to come into agreement with me. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow. And tell her that she needs to come into agreement with what I am communicating to her through these visuals, through these pictures, through these images. And one of the things that she shared was that she shared with me that her plan, what her plan was. And what God was showing in the dream was going the opposite direction of her plan. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, even the dream revealed that she was not in agreement. And it's not like the agreement is it's not like the disagreement was intentional. It's not like she was just, I'm going this way. God's talking about this, but I'm talking about something else. That's not what it is. What it is that God was revealing in a more subtle way, in a more hidden way, that her plans is not the plans that I have. So I'm revealing the plans that I think towards her. And what I need her to do is come into agreement with me, seek and search for me with all her heart. Because this right here is something that I have foreordained her to do. She was born for this moment. And this is one of many moments to occur in her life. That's powerful, y'all. And so she was sharing with me her plan to go the direction of the opposite direction when she finished with this particular phase in her life. And in the dream, God was showing her that there was more to the situation, that even though there was a phase that was coming to an end, God had some more that he wanted her to do. So he had to get her attention through the dream. And it was detailed. It was so detailed. It was so detailed that God allowed her to see the adversity and the people that were in trouble in the dream. He allowed her to see what he wanted to be done. He allowed her to connect with people in the dream. He allowed her to see who she would partner with in the dream. He allowed her to see who God would also put place in the sense of some of the, in other words, sometimes when you got an assignment, you still need other people to assist with that assignment. Like you can't do it alone. God even let her see who would be laborers in this situation that he's calling for a time such as this. That I'm just telling you, it was just that powerful. But the problem was she had plans to go do something else. She had plans to bring her part that she's already partaking in real life to a close. And God would say, not right now. Not right now. And so as she was sharing, I said, you need to own what God is showing you. I didn't say you're not owning it. I just told her, I said, I suggest that you would own it. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, I suggest that you would come into agreement with what God just unfolded before you. I'm telling you, it was a moment. It was a moment. And she was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm not in agreement with what God has said. My attitude has been this. My attitude has been, she realized it her own self. And that's one of the things I love about dreams is that dreams reveal our own heart. It reveals how we think about a thing. It reveals the adversity. I remember having a dream where And so I remember having a dream where God had showed me something that was going on in real life. And so, and this was probably a few years ago, one of my sons was telling me that he wanted to work. And it's not that I didn't want him to work or anything, but there was a lot going on. We had a lot going on as a family. And then he had a lot of things that he needed to do. He needed to be here at this time of the day. He needed to be there at that time of the day. And so to not complicate things, I basically told him I would just take care of him. I said, whatever you need, I said, you just ask. We'll get it for you. We'll pay for it. We'll do whatever it is you need. I just really want you to kind of be still and settled. But he wouldn't let that go. He said, nah, Mom. He said, I need a job. I need my own job. I need my own. And I was just like, I wasn't really listening. I was just like, I've already offered that. I'm going to just offer it again when he settled down. That was my attitude. I'm just going to offer it again, Eventually he'll get it, No. So in that, I don't know how many days it was probably a week or so later, maybe 2 weeks. God had showed me in the dream myself, and I could see myself in the dream, and I could see my son asking the same question. And I saw myself laughing in the dream. And so, but in the dream, I could feel the heaviness of my son. And I could feel the Spirit of the Lord unctioning me to be serious. And so when I awoke from that, I knew what God was saying. I knew that God was saying I wasn't taking it seriously. And that he wanted me to take it seriously. And he also wanted me to agree with my child. And so I said yes, I came into agreement. And so when we have dreams, God will show us where we are not in agreement. He will show us where we're not listening. He will show us where we're not being attentive enough. He will show us so many things. He will show us definitely what we need to know. It's never anything to harm us or to hurt us. It's always to bless us. And I was so thankful that God did that, because that would have caused a great disruption in our lives if God had not have corrected me. That's what that was. That was correction. A wise man loves to be rebuked. A wise man loves to be corrected. He loves for his feet to be put on course if it's off course, right? And so I was very, 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 very thankful, because God, even in the dream, let me feel the heaviness of my son's heart. So that would have hurt if I was not going to deliver by being supportive of him having a job, in addition to all the other things that were going on. I was just going to have to make do. And and this was me. If God is supporting him, I'm supporting him. And God had his back. It was such a beautiful, even though that's something simple, it was so beautiful, because it lets us know that God cares. He cares about everything that we're connected to. He cares about everything that we're involved with. He wants his best for us. And what he's doing, he tries to get us and keep us in those positions where we are receiving his best, where the people that's connected to us, the word says he will perfect the things that concern us. And my son concerned me, his situation, even though I wasn't taking that particular situation seriously, didn't mean that I didn't care. So God had to come in and say, look, Felicia, listen to him and listen to me, because I agree with him. He needs to do this. And so that's one of the things, that's the main thing that I really wanted to share on this particular Dream Steward episode. And that is that we want to make sure we come into agreement even with our faith, even with God. I believe you, even if I don't understand everything that you're saying, everything that you're showing me, everything that you're unfolding, everything that you're revealing, even though I don't have to understand in order to agree. Oh my God. I might want to understand, but it doesn't mean I have to understand. So it is a choice to agree. And so I choose to walk with God by agreeing with his plan for me, by agreeing with his heart for what he wants to do, because he knows best. The Father knows best. And so that was the heart of tonight's share, is that even in dreams, God will show us where we stand, where our perspective is, where our motive is, where our attitude is, how we see a thing, how he sees a thing, how the people in the dream see things. He'll show all corners and aspects of whatever it is he needs to show us in order for his will to be done. And so our job is always to also be connected to God in our hearts. And so thank you so much for taking out your time to listen to this particular episode of Dream Steward, where the topic of the episode is agreement. How can two walk together except they agree? Be blessed.